Hi guys, I hope you're all well. So for today's video, I am joined with Paige from PaigeJoanna. Calvert is your channel, or PaigeJoanna? PaigeJoanna. So we thought we would film a little video today about friendship, and we've just filmed a video over on Paige's channel, which is all about our goals from 2017, what we've achieved, goals for 2018, that kind of thing, just having a general recap of the year, etc. So we thought on my channel we would do a video about friendship. Now, if you have followed me for a while and you are from this channel, you will know that I did a video back in July where I kind of talked about like making friends and how it's quite difficult to make friends when you get older, and opened my DMs up to everyone, so I'd had a chat with quite a lot of you. And I also did a blog post a couple of weeks ago which was about loss of a friendship, so kind of like two contrasting sides of things. And I thought it would be really cool. We've been planning this for a very long time, but I thought it would be cool to bring Paige along and just kind of talk about our friendship and friendships that we've had in the past, good experiences, bad experiences, ways that we've found we make friends as we get older, like that kind of thing, and just have a chat about friends.
Definitely. I think as you get older it becomes such a taboo subject that no one really likes to open up about.
No one likes to say like, oh, I wish I had more friends, or oh, like I wish I could make friends easier.
I feel like it's quite an embarrassing topic if you openly say that you've not got many friends. And also it's not like when you have an ex-boyfriend or something and you actually can talk about the single life and stuff like that online,
because you talk to your friends about that. Like,
when you mourn a friendship, it's so hard to be open about it without there being any bad feeling involved towards a certain person. If there's, you know, if you've actually lost a particular friend, or you've just faded apart from certain people. I just find it such a weird subject, like no one really discusses openly, so it's quite nice to do this video, I think.
I think there's quite a lot of times as you get older, especially, so like when you leave school and when you leave university, friends kind of drop out, like whether it's through an argument or whatever, or you just literally fade apart because you kind of leave school and you go off to different places. Uni especially, I think you kind of fade from different people because everyone is in like one place living together or whatever, and then you kind of separate off back to your hometowns or whatever. So I think it's quite a difficult time of life. Your blog post,
obviously you've read it to me and you touch on so much of it in more detail, but I think it's quite nice to discuss it with an actual friend.
Just have a chat on camera.
Because me and Jess have known each other in the blogging industry, I'm gonna say what, 5 years now?
Easily.
4 years, something like that. And although we've never always talked consistently, we did a campaign together.
We didn't even have each other's numbers until,
back in the summer of 2016 we did a big campaign together shoot, and we were like, we need to keep in touch, and we did, didn't we?
Yeah, and we literally just sat down and got on, like we just got on.
I think because we knew each other, and it was like when you go to these kind of blogger things, it's quite hard sometimes if you don't know anyone, and we instantly were like, oh hey,
and we were stuck in a hotel room for like 8 hours together.
I think Jess was kind of thinking about moving to London, and you were doing lots of bloggy bits, so we just naturally kind of just got on so much more than we'd ever had. And I mean, over the years I was going through a situation at that point as well where I had lost a friendship, or I was on the ends of losing a friendship, and it was a friendship that put me on a pedestal. And I just want to touch about this quickly, because when you're younger and you use terms like best friend, and you know,
I think best friends thrown around very easily when you're younger.
Yeah, I think sometimes you can rely on someone so much, which as a friend is lovely, but unless you're bouncing off each other organically and you keep saying best friend, or you know, you're my greatest friend, sometimes that can put a lot of pressure on you. And I think towards the end of this particular friendship that I had, that was very much the case. You know, there was jealousy when I went and met up with other people. I just felt like I wasn't being a good enough person, even though I was giving all of my energy that I could possibly give. And in the end, we just drifted apart and it ended, which was really sad. But at the time, you kind of just like, I mourned it so much. It was like getting your heart broken. So now I'm very wary. My mum, such an amazing thing that she said to me, she was like, you know, stop putting people on pedestals and stop calling people best friends. You can have your greatest friends, your oldest and dearest friends.
Best friend is like someone that you think should constantly be there for you, and like they always have like an orb of like.
As you get older, you just realise that it's okay not to have that one best friend. You're very lucky if you have it, but unfortunately for me, it's never ever worked out. Like whenever I've had a best friend, it's always turned sour. So I think as I've got older, and since that situation
even if you stay
happened,
friends, like you kind of just you have a best friend and then you kind of fade out because you start to annoy each other because you're spending too much time.
I still like calling people besties and chummies and stuff like that, but just using it more loosely and not relying on solely on one person, because you have your relationship for that. Like I'm very lucky, I have my fiance, you have your boyfriend, they're your best friends. They're the person you can solely rely on. You can't solely rely on a friend when you've got other friendships involved, especially if you've got a friendship group of 3 people or whatever. I just think the older you get, the more you realise that if you start putting people on these kind of like pedestals in life, then it turns sour very quickly. And I think as you get older as well, you do realise who's there for you and how they're there for you, and also
different ways as well. Like you end up with more life things happening. So like in school it might be like a little breakup or something or whatever, but when you get older you start to have things like you might lose a job, or you might be moving house, or you might lose a really serious relationship, or you might get a really serious relationship. Like it just kind of, for like me, it's
illness as well.
Yeah, and illness. Yeah, definitely.
So you definitely learn who your friends are when you go through these big changes, things like getting engaged and stuff. These big life things happen. People start getting married, they start moving house, and you start realizing that if they're not coming to you about these big things that you think maybe you would have come to them about, you think, oh, okay, so the dynamic changes,
and they kind of have to fit into your life differently as well. Because like for example, you said your boyfriend becomes your best friend. Like when you're, say, 18, 19, 20, whatever, your friends are literally your soul. Like your soul, what's the word? They're like your family,
family, aren't they?
Like you care about them more than anyone, you want to see them more than anyone. But as you get older, you start to kind of put more time into your relationship, and your friends kind of take a step back a little bit. Like not in a bad way, but like you kind of put more time into them and making sure that works. Do you know what I mean? I focus on that, but you also focus on friends. It's not like you focus on friends and then they kind of become like.
I think because obviously as you get older, your friends need to realise that things change, you change. Yeah, like I've had so many friends in the past where we've never had a kind of a moment to kind of say this friendship's over, or a really bad breakup or an argument or anything. It's more just the fact that we've just drifted apart and we stopped chatting, and then you kind of get to a certain point and you're like, oh yeah, like I don't speak to that person anymore, and then it's almost awkward and you don't really know how to address like talking. I think as long as you can reflect on why it happened and why you think it happened, because most of the time no one's in the wrong. It's just when you've got older and something's happened. I mean, I've had a couple of bitter situations in my life where people have been nasty.
Yeah, or you've had like, I think everyone has like the friendships where like something's been really bad or terrible, you've had an argument, but then you've also got the ones where it's like,
if you feel like a few months down the line you felt like you were to blame, then it's completely okay to be honest with that. I've actually had, you know, conversations with people a few months on where we've reflected and apologised to each other, and then there's also been times where we just, with other people, we just haven't really spoken to. But there was one moment where I didn't speak to someone for like a year and a half, and then I actually wrote to that person and said that I missed and valued their friendship, and that even if they didn't reply to me, I just wanted them to know that I missed them. And actually it resulted in our friendship coming back to life. And I don't know if they're watching this, but it was one of the best things I did, because we had a big friendship group, and it was just so weird that we even split up friends in the first place. But
sometimes it's nice though to kind of accept what's happened, and you both just kind of move on from it, and you have the conversation, and you just kind of let it go.
Had different reasons. I didn't.
And a year and a half is a long time.
Yeah, I still to this day don't have a reason myself, but if they did, then that's fine, and I completely accept that. But the fact that we could grow up forward and move on from it was really good. So I think in terms of adult friendships, it is definitely a tricky situation and a tricky thing to talk about. Yeah. And even I'm 26, Jess is 25, but just like the older you get, it still can feel very hurtful when you lose someone, and it doesn't matter how old you are, you still kind of go back to those school days where you would have friends, and it hurts. Like it does. It's like mourning a relationship, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah,
I think friendships are just a very, I don't even know the word anymore. I'm very lost in life.
I think another like big thing is how do you figure out if a friendship has ended? So if you're watching this and you're thinking like, you know, you're at a situation where you don't know if someone's a friend to you anymore and you don't know what to do, you're hurt by it, then one thing I found really useful, I watched a video and it was about talking about how they make you feel. So if you're like feeling nervous about meeting up with them, you get like butterflies in your stomach, or if you feel like they're completely like zapping and using you as a sponge, they soak up all of your energy to the point where you've only got negative feelings left, then you've got to ask yourself, do you like who you are when you're with that person?
Like we spoke about this earlier, didn't we? Saying like sometimes like I had friends in my past where I'd meet up with them, and even the thought of having to go meet up with them, as much as I love that person and I love spending time with them, like the thought of going to their house or the thought of meeting up with them just filled me with loads of like almost anxiety, because I was like, oh, I know they're going to stress me out and I know they're going to annoy me, and I'd snap at them, and it wasn't because they'd necessarily done anything, it's just the way that they were, and like the whole general aura of like negativity and stuff. Like I am a moaning myrtle, you know that better than anyone. Like I moan a lot, but like I know when not to kind of thing,
and be open about it. Like there's one thing
sometimes there is a zap.
Yeah, if someone takes so much energy from you and makes you feel constantly negative and you're in their presence, like you've got to ask yourself, do you value that as a friendship. Like, even if you love someone so much, if you're not having fun with them anymore, if you're not feeling,
have to laugh, like, you have to laugh,
you've got to feel
like you can talk about things.
There's got to be a mutual respect, there's got to be no jealousy, and if there is jealousy, you've got to be open and honest about it. If there's one thing I've learned, jealousy breaks up so many friendships.
And like not even just relationships, like jealousy and friendships is also a very big thing. Like for example, like I had a friend who was also kind of in the same thing. We both kind of did blogging and stuff, and jealousy is something that actually stopped us being friends for quite a long time, because we were both growing at the same time. Like we started at the same time and everything, and then it kind of just got to a point where one of us was growing more than the other, and one of us is getting more opportunities, and it definitely just kind of
tough.
Yeah, it breaks you apart as friends,
especially when you have to
know how to respect each other.
Vlogger friends is a tough one, because
like you can't feel bitter about, like, say you got a collaboration and I felt really angry about that collaboration, like I wouldn't necessarily, like, you shouldn't do that as a friend.
Yeah, and even though I'm not perfect, none of us are perfect,
no,
but
definitely not.
I think one thing I've really learned, I'm quite an open book anyway, as you guys probably know, especially you, Jess, is that if I genuinely feel either hurt about something, I've got something on my mind, I tell you, which sometimes does beat me in the ass. Like,
but at the same time, I'd rather, say if like you were annoyed about something or you thought I'd been like, not upsetting, but if you thought I'd maybe done something that was like, you'd found it a bit awkward or something, just tell me. Rather you just said to me, look Jess, whatever, rather than like then bitching about it to another friend or a boyfriend, and then it kind of becomes more of a problem, because the minute you talk about it to someone that isn't that person, it then becomes like a spiral. Like,
in terms of the whole jealousy thing, I've learnt that actually it's so natural to be jealous of people and friends, as long as you know and you accept that jealousy and also have a joke and a laugh about it.
And as long as it doesn't get to the point where it's like everything.
It is so much easier, because if you hold on to jealousy and you don't talk and discuss it with that person, it turns into resentment, and that's where friendships break. And I think if people aren't open and honest with each other, which some people aren't naturally open people, that's completely okay, but you just need to ask yourself, like, how else can you just chat and open up with that person without them feeling like they are being hounded or they're in the wrong, because no one's in the wrong. It's just being able to have open conversations as you get older that makes friendships actually better in the long run. So to be able to be open and honest with a friend and then laugh about it later on is the true value. It kind of makes you feel like you're more like a sister, so you can learn from these experiences.
And as well, their reaction can also kind of gauge whether they are a good friend, because if you kind of open up to that person and say, look, this, if they then turn around and have a really negative response or they get argumentative, obviously it's natural. If someone is saying to you this, like, you might, like, Paige could turn around and say something to me and I could feel instantly defensive and be like, oh my god, no, like, that's ridiculous. But you've got to be able to then move on from it, apologise, like, things like that. Whereas if you have a friend who then kind of gets their back up and then they get really angry with you, really jealous,
like,
and
there's
really, like,
two sides to it,
like, you have to both be mutually mature enough to kind of get over it and just move on.
If there's so many differences, I've had arguments with people in the past where there's been a clashing difference and we've had to just be like, okay, let's agree to disagree on this particular occasion. But there's been other times where actually we've bounced off each other and we've realised that, okay, now that we've got it off our chest, actually we can move forward from this. So I think just being able to be open is such like a big step. So if you're feeling like on the cusp of a friendship ending, or you're feeling hurt by a particular person, I think the first thing is to just have a chat with them. And
if possible, face to face, because I feel like face to face over text is a killer of friendships. I feel, because
I told you about this as well. You have to say to yourself, like, so before you go into this big kind of like open message about how you feel about them, whether that's in person or you want to message them,
I just think in person you get more of like a feel of the vibe.
Ask yourself though, before you give your energy into this situation, do you value the friendship? Do they make you happy? Do you want to resolve an issue? And can you see yourself being friends with that person for the long term and for the future? If the answer is yes, then 100% be honest with them and get it off your chest. If the answer is no, you feel like it's gone too far, the negativity's wound you down, you feel like they might react badly, or you feel like maybe it's more one-sided, maybe they don't really like you anymore, I don't know, then maybe you just need to rip off that band-aid or that plaster and just let it go.
Like, we've had a situation recently, which is what Paige is kind of referring to here. So I actually have a friend and nothing specifically happened. There was no kind of defining moment where I'd say this is where we weren't friends anymore, but over the last kind of year or so we've just drifted. We don't really speak anymore. Like, I've spoken to Paige about it a lot, obviously, because she's my friend. But we were kind of talking about it and I said, I feel like I'm at a point now where I need to say something. And I said to Paige, and I've said it to Adrian as well, I feel like I need to just put it out there, say this is what I feel, this is how I felt, this is things that I think have happened that maybe affected our friendship, and try and move on from it. But then I kind of realised that that friendship wasn't necessarily one that I needed, because it was very much one-sided.
I said to you was, do you miss that person?
And I said yes, but no. Like, I miss the friendship
times.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily miss
how you currently feel.
Everything that came with the friendship sometimes.
So yeah, I think in terms of you not missing the friendship is like obviously a big thing. You miss the good times that you had, but you're not missing the current feelings of feeling anxious, nervous,
and as well like the feeling of like one-sidedness. I think one-sided friendships are a very big thing. I think they are very real, and having been in one where it's constantly me messaging first, it's constantly me asking, like, it was never my feelings considered. No, but I think if you're friends, like, you have an issue, you'll tell me, I'll listen, I'll respond. I have an issue, I'll tell you, you listen, you respond. If it's very much like Paige is always the one trying to meet up with me, and Paige is always the one that's coming to me and I'm helping her, and like, you just have to have a very two-sided relationship. And this one particular one that we're talking about, I just didn't see the point in resolving because of the fact that it is very one-sided, and I might say all these things, but then I know that the comeback from that isn't going to be what I necessarily wanted to hear. And I know that it's going to continue to be one-sided, so it's just not.
This happened to me.
Sometimes it's not worth your time.
I had a friend that I was really close with in college, and when I moved to London, we kind of drifted apart, because every time I'd come home where I used to live, I would make the effort to say, do you want to meet up? And with them, they had a lot of their own personal battles, and I had to be very patient with like kind of anxiety, depression.
You have to be understanding.
Because I've got all those things myself, so I know how hard it can be. But when it would be things like every single time I would ask, there was a different reason why they couldn't see me. Whether it's money, I would offer to pay. If it was location-wise, I would offer to go to them. It was just constant.
Yeah, like going to someone's house isn't necessarily spending money or anything.
I just gave up, and I just had to, again, rip the band-aid off and say it's not going to work. And actually, a year on, 2 years on, I've recently been back in touch with that person. I'm not going to say we're going to be like chummies again or close again, but just to know that...
Acquaintance, almost.
Yeah, just to even know that they understood their situation at the time wasn't good for me, that is a massive thing.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to like pick up friendships again in the future, or even just message them to say like that you're thinking of them. But it's perfectly okay to understand that friendships don't always last forever.
Sure. Like so, I had friendships in university, and when I was in third year, I had 3 housemates I was really close to, and as uni got to end, we kind of all just fell out, and it wasn't really necessarily a fallout. We all just kind of stopped talking, and like it just got a bit awkward. And after giving it some time, we kind of all just came back together naturally. We've all kind of said, really sorry, meet up again. Like I'm now in touch with all 3 of them again, and obviously they're now my friends. I wouldn't say best friends again, maybe one of them more so than the other 2, because I just speak to her a lot more. Hayley, who is obviously watching this, I know she is. But it's like something like sometimes you just need to kind of accept that things fall apart, and they'll fall back in their own time.
Also, no one's perfect. Me and Jess aren't doing this video to say that we're these shining brights of perfection in a friendship.
More to just like make people feel like they're not alone.
Let's be open about it. Let's reflect on ourselves and other people, and we can grow from it more. I think the older you get, if you don't do that, that's where friendships die. And I think there's so much positives to come from this as well, because look at me and Jess, we've known each other for years. It's never too late to have new friends. Yeah, it's never too late to have new friends. Look, Jess's boyfriend met Chris back in the summer.
Oh my god, and we didn't even think they'd get on.
They're like a big bromance, and do you know what? You just never know. So don't fear taking up opportunities to meet up with people for coffee. Like, not everyone you meet up with ends up having to be your best friend, but just see where it goes.
Just put yourself out there.
Yeah, exactly. And don't be afraid to rip off that band-aid and get rid of a... Get rid of a bad friendship if they're not there for you. But at the same time, not everyone's perfect, not even yourself, the other person. Just learn to reflect on those feelings.
And you have to be open to new friendships as well. Like you, like Paige said, you won't necessarily be best friends with someone if you go out for coffee with them, but just kind of be open to the idea of like talking to new people, meeting up with new people, because you never know where that could lead. Exactly. Like we literally by chance were at an event together and ended up getting on really well, and now we're here. Like who knows,
even if she does go away for months at a time and I'm lonely.
Yeah, but it's like we still meet up loads when I'm like here and whatever.
Exactly.
So
you don't have to see each other all the time to be a good friend. Let's just put it there.
Or talk all the time.
Yeah.
And the worst thing I find as well is, especially kind of a few years ago, I don't do it so much now, but I would always look on the killer of everything, Facebook and Instagram, and I'd always see people that I knew with all their friends, and I'd always kind of feel like I didn't have enough friends. And I would message, like Tash can vouch for me for this because I do it to her all the time. I would sit and be like, oh, I don't have enough friends. I've only got 3 friends. I've only got 7 friends. Like, oh my god, everyone else has got all these friends.
Valuable friends.
But you shouldn't, you should never compare your friend circle to someone else's friend circle, because having a lot of friends doesn't necessarily
Also,
mean
you don't know if they're happy.
quality. Yeah, that could be a quantity of friends, but not really a quality.
Battery. So we need to quickly sum it up.
We'll round this up. Basically, this was just a ramble about friendship. We had no real, this is the kind of good thing about this, we had no real direction with this video. We just kind of wanted to chat about friendship and leave this as an open discussion to you guys. So if you wanted to chat about friendship, wanted to talk to us personally, leave us a comment in the description. If you want to talk to other people or just make new friends.
Let's get rid of the taboo.
Yeah,
and
we're going to leave this as an open space to make friends down here.
Yeah.
Even if it's us or someone else.
Also, if you had a situation or you're currently in a situation where you are at an end of a friendship or you want to talk to someone, leave it in the description below and maybe one of us will be able to get back to you. Or if you guys just want to chat amongst yourselves,
anything
like,
you want to say or do, yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Whether you want to chat, whether you want to say something, have a little 2 cents. I'm aware the battery's flashing, but I'm going to keep talking.
Just say goodbye.
Anyway. If you wanted to see the 2017 to 2018 goals and kind of recap of last year, head over to Paige's channel. I'll leave everything linked down below. But if you've already been there, great. Good for you.
Thanks for watching.
And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Bye, guys.
Bye.